Hey Leslie, I'm Jerry. Finally get to meet you, sort of. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to thread it. So that way you can even just start. I know when I got my first multi-needle, I had to take it back to the dealer because I had no idea how to even begin. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and turn it on, and we will get you up to speed in no time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through 2 or 3 or 4 different ones so that way you can see it, because each one can be just a little bit different. But you've had this one, and if you can do this one, this is the same thing, only just a little bit. The only difference would be just a few little updates that they did. So what we're going to do first is we're going to open this. Oh, that was closed. We're going to open that. We're going to need that to be opened. And I currently have everything threaded, but so what we're going to do is I'm going to completely take thread out of slot number 1. So this will be as if you are doing it from the very, very, very beginning. So what we'll do first is on the back of number 1, it's a little spot. I will point it here. You see, there's a number 1 slot back behind because it has the number 1. Now on the rail, on this back rail, only half of them will go through this back rail, and those will be for number 1, number 3, number 5 on this bank. And it will say right next to the hole, there's a number 1, number 3, and a number 5. The other side also has numbers, but we'll look at those later. So we are just going to, so our first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in from the back side of it, and we're just going to pull it through. So that's our first one that we've done. So we start from the back and we pull it through. Now, the front rail here, all of them will go through. So here's 1, 2, 3. They have numbers right beside all of the holes. So with this one, we're going to, again, coming from the back, we're going to pull it through. So that has threaded our first one as far as that part. Now what we're going to do, again, keeping with the Babylock and Brother, they do a fantastic job in marking, giving you guidelines where to go. So we've got 1 and 1. We've already done those. So now we're going to come back through this bar, and we have the number 1. So we're still working with number 1. So again, we're going to come from the back, and we're just going to pull it through this way. Okay, so we've made it now that far. So again, what we're going to do is, since we're sticking with number 1, here's another number 1. We're going to just pull it, take it from the top, put it down through the bottom, and I'm just going to pull my thread through. Okay, so now we've made it that far. See, you're doing good. We've almost got this. So now these are not, this part here, well, I guess it is numbered. It's not numbered on this chrome piece, but if you look right here, let me get my little pointer. Sorry. There's a number 1 right there. So we are going to come from the back here, and then it's going to go under this little piece here. That keeps a little bit of tension on it. So it's important that we go through, that it goes under this little lip here. So we're going to, again, come from the back. We're going to go through there. And then what I find kind of helps is I'll kind of wrap this on my finger, almost like if you're flossing your teeth, which probably a bad example, but this way I keep a little bit of tension on the thread and it just slides right under. You know what? I'm going to do that again for you. I'm going to take this all the way out. Okay, I'm just going to do this part again. So here's number 1 on that. And I just keep this a little bit tight. That way it just clicks through there. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a little tiny lip right here. And it's also that way on the back. And that what you want the thread on the left on this part here, just like where that is. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, again, keeping with the numbering system, there's number 1 right here. So this is our first dial where our tension knob that we want to go around. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it under here. Then we're going to loop it all the way around. That's our tension disc. So it circles all the way around. I'm going to do that again for you. Okay. So we're going to go here underneath, and then we just pull it all the way around. We're going to make a complete circle underneath that. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. They have marked here. There's a little path that they have made. So again, we're going to go from the 1, and it looks like it just kind of ends there, but that's where you want to pull it across, and then that's going to go under that disc, and then it comes out here. Then it will loop, and it's got little arrows pointed. It's going to go all the way around here, and then we're going to pick it up again. Okay? You got this. It'll be all good. So again, we're just going to see how the my thread lines up with those markings. So it goes there, and then it comes out here. Okay? So we're going to wrap this around. Okay, now it's around the tension knob. We're almost there. Okay, this little post here, we have our nice little marking. We're going to follow it right across there. So we stay on this side of the post. Okay, now what we're going to do, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a little arrow, it's a little white on white arrow right here. So after we stay on the right hand side of this, okay, so we're going to be on the right hand side of this post, and now we're going to go on the left hand side of this post. Okay, now just like a little bit ago, I'm going to keep a little bit of tension on because this part here looks a lot like that part there. Okay, so we want to make sure that the thread goes underneath this, just like we did up there. Okay, so we just slid it right underneath there. That's all we have to do. I'm just going to show you that again really quick. Okay, so we're going to go on the right hand side of this post. On the left hand side, if I can get everybody to cooperate here, evidently the thread didn't attend that rehearsal. Okay, so now we're to there. We're almost on the home stretch. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we go down here, and we get to the bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little arrow. We're going to, and it says to bring it up and then go back up. Okay, so we're going to bring it. Come on. We're going to go there. And now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to snip part of this off. I've pulled too much. Okay, now what we're going to do next, we're almost there. We're going to go through that part right there. So we've gone down, back up, and this part is just like a sewing machine, okay? Like when you're threading a sewing machine. So now we've got it back up through the little hole. Now we're back down, and we're looking for our number 1, which is right there. We're getting so close, we're almost there. Almost. So close. So each Each needle has its own little hole here. So again, we're still working with number 1. So we're going to drop it straight down through that hole, and I'm going to pull it. Wait for my trusty camera guy to grab it there. Okay. Now that we're down here, what we're going to do is we're going to use this tool right here. Okay. I don't know how well you can see it or how often you use this tool, but this comes in handy a couple different ways. You're going to see that there's a little notch out in this tool. Okay. That's what we're going to use. I'm just showing you for demo here. You can only put it white on white, or the thread on the white. This is going to be like a little pusher or a little guide, and that thread fits really nicely in this little cutout spot. Okay, so now what we're going to do, go this way for just a second. Each one of the needles has this little hook right up here. Like this is number 1. They're all the same. Here's number 2, 3, so on. Okay, so what we're gonna do, this is gonna be the last, we're almost there. I can see it, we're almost there. So we're gonna take this little tool. We're gonna put let me slide it down here so you can see it better. We're gonna put grab the thread right in between there. And again, I have just a little bit of tension on it and just kind of helps. This is the way I do it. Now, we're going to take it. That thread has got to go up so it hooks into here. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Okay, so again, take my little tool. What I'm doing is I'm pushing it up, right up behind here, this little hook, so in that way it will end up behind this. So take it, again, I have just a little bit of tension on it, and I just put it back behind that hook, then you just pull it, and that's how it gets back in behind there. Okay, now our last step that we're going to do involves, I need my screen, is the automatic needle threader. And that is this button. Okay, because it kind of looks like a needle with a piece of thread going down through there. Okay, now we're going to be hitting this twice, only once right now though. Okay, so the first time we hit it, ready? It brings down our needle threader, and you can see there's a little tab here and there's a little tab here on this threader. What we're going to do is, again, I have just a little bit of tension on. We're going to go on the right side of this part. Of the whatever you call it. And then see this metal part here that comes down. You know, each one of them again has it. We're going to go, and there's a little notch underneath here. Do you see? I don't know if you can see that or not. There's just enough space underneath there for me to pull that thread up underneath there. Okay, I'm going to pull that again. Okay, so again, we have our piece right here. Okay, so we want to be on the right hand side of that. And then as if this was a clock, you'd be kind of pulling it down at about like the 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock position. So it goes down like this. And then we're going to just pull it up and see how that slid in behind that part. Okay. So now what we're going to do is all this extra, we're just going to take it up, pull it up over this piece here. Again, it's got the little markings, and that's got a little cutter on it, little tiny cutter. So that is framed perfectly for when we get ready to hit the button next, and then it will automatically thread it. Okay, so I'm going to hit this button again, And if you can watch right here, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to press the auto threader button again. By doing that, it has threaded it, and then it pulled the little tail and tucked it up underneath there. So that way it stays out of the way. And we have, and you have, successfully threaded the very first needle on this. Number 2, 3, all the way up to 10 are all virtually the same. We're going to start here. I'm going to just talk it. Oh, one important thing. When you're all the way done, the slide right here, when you're all the way done, make sure that that is closed. Okay, this is closed. I'm not sure how well that's showing up with it being silver on silver. Okay, because that just keeps a little bit of tension on there. Let me show you again. There's open. We want to keep it open when we're pulling the new thread through. And there's closed. Okay, so I'm just going to work on this bank here for just a quick second. Again, back here, here's number 1, 3, 5. They come in from the back. Okay, and they're all marked 1, 3, and 5. And then on the front, they're all going to have their own special holes here on the front. So what let's do is, if you don't mind and if you have time, we're going to change out number 2. I'll walk you through. The only place where it's different is sometimes the markings up here are just a little tiny bit different. But basically it's all 99% the same. We're just going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one. And this is if you are threading it from the very, very, very beginning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a color in here. Hopefully you can see. If I do white on white, that would make it hard to see. So let's say we have our brand new thread on there, and we don't have any thread. Completely get that out of here. My wife has a serger, and I'm always called down to help her thread that when it comes undone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now, if we are starting with number 2, how we're going to completely thread this as if there's no threads up there. And then as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to show you the cheat, very quick way that I always do it. But this way, kind of like in school, you got to learn the hard way first before you can learn the easy way. So again, we're at number 2. Okay. So there's our number 2. And if we look on the very back row, there's no number 2 back here. Okay. Only the threads that are in the back position go through the back guide. So we are one step closer to having this done since we don't have to do that back step. Okay, so we're going number 2 because here's our number. There's number 2. Come in from the back, grab it and pull it through. Okay. So now our next step is going to be up here. Again, we're going to look for number 2. There's number 2. Okay, there's number 2. Come in from the back, and we're going to pull it through. Okay. Again, in keeping with our numbering system, here's number 2. So we're going to drop down from the top and just drop it through. Okay. So we are going to town, okay? Change spots here, okay? Get a little different angle on this one, okay? Maybe we should have done that from the very beginning. So here's number 1. Here's our number 2. So, okay, there's our number 2, which they label things very nice. We just go 1, 2, 3 all the way to 10. So we are just going to go for our number 2 spot here. If I drop that, I'll never find it again. Okay, so there, we're coming through the 2 slot. And this is again kind of where, it's kind of like the dental floss. I just grab it a little bit on my left hand just to make it a little bit tight. I'm just gonna slide it through. Did you hear that click? We just slid it through. So now that's underneath there, okay? Now, we're gonna follow this one down. Again, here's our line. Remember where it kind of goes into the back side, and then we pick it up, you know, on the front side, or I guess they have this marking over here. We're just gonna go around the disc. So it's underneath there. You just pivot. Just pivot that one all the way around. We've just made a complete circle. Again, that's our tension knob. This one does not have any additional post like what this one does. So we are ready to just come over here to this. Okay, so there's our number 2 post. Okay, and if you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but they have it on there. It's white on white, but it tells you to put it on the left side of that post. Okay, so again, we're going to just slide it under that. Okay, so we're almost on the home stretch. Everything else is going to be the same. So we go down. Okay, we go down. Once we reach the bottom, we have this little arrow that tells us to go back up top. Kind of like playing Monopoly. We just got to follow our way around the board here. I know it can be so overwhelming and so frustrating, because that's the way I was with a little 4 needle. Okay, so we're back up to the top. Go through. Grab it. And we're going down. Okay. Here's our number 2 hole, because our number 2, our second hole there. We're just going to drop it straight down. And we're going to pick it up on the bottom side of it. Hopefully, if it'll cooperate. Okay. Okay. Now this is where we're going to use our little tool again. I almost thought I lost. Okay. So now that we're underneath here, again, here's this little hook that we need to get in. We're going to push it under, or push it back in behind. So again, I don't have a lot of tension, but it works a lot easier because I completely let go of it. Because if you just try and do it like this, it's like almost like a wet noodle. It's not going to really work for you. So I just grab it. Okay. So hopefully I can do this. Okay. We're just going to push it up and drop it right in behind there. I'll do that again. Okay. So again, we just put it in between there. I'm going to go slow. Okay. I'm going. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. Do you see where that's at? Okay, and I'm just going to coax it because I just want that thread to just go up and get in behind there. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop it right there. You see where it's just in behind that hook. I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh yeah, good. You can. Well, I look it on the screen. I feel like I'm doing surgery here. Okay, so we've got it where we want it now. Now I have to get to my second needle. So when I'll have to bring that up here in just a moment, but then it would be the same thing as pressing we just do the needle threader. Let me see, I'm on the wrong screen. Bear with me just a moment here. Okay. I think we're still gonna, okay, so I'm just gonna stop you right there. I don't have it set properly for it to thread this since I don't have a design up here. Get one. So then we just hit the button, and like what we did on the first one, we go on the right hand side of the needle threader, and then we go, let's pretend the needle threader's there. Well, this is a really bad tutorial here. I'm just going to use that as my pretend. Okay, pretend that is on the right hand side of the little needle threader, and then we go under here, and then that's where you would press the button again, and it would automatically thread it. Okay, so we have threaded those two parts, or the first two. So then number 3, all the way across would be about the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of the quick and dirty way to do it. Let's pick a different color. Okay. So let's say you already have one needle already threaded. We already have our first needle already threaded. So that would be the, I don't say the hardest, but that's the most work to do it that way. Okay. So let's say we're going to keep everything threaded. Everything, it's already threaded through the needle, everything. So I'm going to cut some of this off. And let's say my design called for a different color. And, okay, so we're going to change out, we're going to use a different color on here. And I don't know what kind of thread you have. And I know it's always interesting when people ask, like, what kind of thread works for your machine and what kind of thread doesn't. I have such a wide variety, as you can tell over here. I have all kinds of different brands. I use, some people say they don't like this, they don't like that brand. I just go with whatever I can find, and I don't like to spend a lot on my thread. So, okay, so, and I found a little tip too. I was having difficulty with one brand where I couldn't run it quite as fast, and oftentimes it might fray on me. And I had all this very inexpensive, we'll call it cheap, it was inexpensive thread. I'm like, oh, I don't want to get rid of it. And I've seen some people online where they try and they say they bought a whole bunch of thread and it doesn't work. Their machine doesn't like it. I found this. It's called Sewer's Aid. It's super, super, super cheap. You can get it almost anywhere. I think like Joann's, Hancock's out of business. You can find it. It'd be hard to find it at Hancock's now. You could find it almost anywhere. And I just put like a few drops on, just a few drops on my on it. And all this is, it's just liquid silicone. And so that makes some of my thread that I initially had trouble with, it works just fine. So again, it's just called multi-purpose Sewer's Aid. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our two. We're just going to put a quick knot in it. We're just going to hook these two together. Okay. There's just our quick knot. I don't know if you have a serger. This is the way I always do my our serger. So that way I don't have to rethread it and take all the time to do that. So now we have those two hooked together. Going to drop those down. Our plate up here is open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the bottom. I'm going to come down here to the bottom. Okay. Our number 1 needle is threaded. This is the one where we changed the color. I'm just going to pull that out so it's not going through the needle. Okay. And we put kind of like a brick color on it. It's like a guy telling you what kind of colors these are. Let's see. I'm just going to keep pulling. We're pulling that. Oh, looky there. We got our brick coming through. Okay. We have re-threaded it. It's still in behind here. The only thing we have to do is we just have to do this again. So again, here's our right-hand part of our needle threader. We want it to be on that. Okay, just pull it underneath there. Again, like if we go like at the 7, 8 o'clock position. So we're on the right-hand side of this little lip, little piece of metal there. We're going to go under here. Now I'm going to pull it back up towards the top and see how it's underneath there. Okay, just hoop it up over here. As I pull it down, it just cuts itself. I'm going to press the needle threader button one more time, and we have changed our thread on needle 1 again. So, just to show you how easy that was, I'm going to put my purple back on there again. Take this one off. I'm going to make sure to leave enough. I'm going to make sure I'm sure I'm kind of wasting some, but if it's saving me a little bit of time, I'm all for it. Okay. So we don't have to go through. We don't have to go, like we did originally. So I have both of our colors here. Just going to knot them together. Just a little simple knot. Okay. That's hooked together. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go back down here to the bottom again. Okay. I'm just pulling our old color, what we're going to call our old color, out of the needle. Let's see, we put purple on there. Okay, and I'm just pulling it through. Pull, 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 and there's our purple coming through. Wasn't that easy? That was very easy. Very, very, very easy. Okay, again, our needle threader. Press it once, brings out our needle threader mechanism. We're going to go on the right-hand side of this. Under, up, and over. And I'm going to hit the button again. Look at that. We are done with that already. So now what I'm going to do is, since you have now successfully graduated through those colors, okay, and when we're done, when we have our colors the way we want them, slide that shut. Okay? Perfect. See, you're unnatural at this. Okay? Now I'm going to now that we've got our machine threaded with the colors we want, isn't that a lovely selection of colors right up through there? Yeah, maybe not. Okay, we're gonna work on this part. So on our screen here, what we're gonna do is we can like hard code or set that we want certain colors in certain areas. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna press this button here. Okay, it's like a little piece of paper. We're going to go to, we have 7 pages in here. We're going to go to page 3. Okay. So this is our needle setting, whatever we want to call it. So this would be for needle 1, 2, all the way to 10, for 10. Okay. Let's say that I wanted to make sure and always have black anchored in as number 10. So if you have, let's say that you have a couple of colors that you always use almost all the time, or you always use sometimes, we'll use that one. So what we're going to do is I want to make sure I don't want to have to take black on and off and